Stop looking for a job, start looking for freedom. I know that sounds crazy, especially when you've got bills stacking up, mouths to feed, pressure from your family, your partner, your own mind screaming, get back to work. But hear me, what you need right now might not be another job. What you need might be a total shift in direction. Because if we're being honest, the last job didn't fulfill you. It paid you, sure. It gave you something to post on LinkedIn. It gave you an identity you could explain at parties. But did it free you? Did it energize you? Did it make you feel like you were living in alignment with the kind of human you're here to be? Or did it just trap you in another loop? Wake up, work. Eat, scroll, sleep, repeat. You're not just jobless right now. You're open, you're in a rare window, where the system paused long enough for you to choose differently. And what most people do in this window is panic. They apply for anything. They tell themselves they'll figure it out later. They look for another version of the same trap and call it security, but not you. You're going to do something different. You're going to stop looking for the next job that fits your resume and start asking, what kind of life fits your values? What does freedom look like for you? Not the vague, fluffy kind. The real kind. The kind where you get to choose what you say yes to. Where you don't trade your time for someone else's dream. Where you're not begging for approval to take a vacation. Where your work feels like a vehicle for purpose, not a prison for your potential. That's not a fantasy that's available to you. If you stop chasing a paycheck long enough to build a path, because here's the truth, no one told you a job is not the only way to earn. And it's definitely not the only way to live. You have skills, you have experience. You have insight that other people would gladly pay for, if you had the courage to package it. That packaging takes vision. It takes effort. It takes shutting the employee mindset that says, I need someone to hire me to feel valuable. No, you don't. You need someone to believe in you. And that someone is you. Every skill you've built over the last 10, 15, 20 years. It's an asset, every lesson. A piece of your unique value stack. Every challenge you've navigated in silence. A potential offer, but here's the catch. You won't see the opportunity if you're only looking for jobs. You'll only see it if you're looking for freedom. Freedom to build a brand, to serve a niche, to teach what you've learned, to coach, consult, design, write, lead, build, solve, guide outside the walls of someone else's org chart. And yeah, it's not easy, it's not predictable. It might take time to grow, but so does any job, and at least this one is yours. When you work for freedom, every action compounds, every connection you make, every lesson you learn, every piece of content you put out. It builds, it doesn't disappear. The moment someone decides you're expendable, that's the difference, that's the leverage. That's why this season, this jobless quiet, scary season is sacred, because for once in your adult life, you don't have to stay in the cage. You get to fly. If you're bold enough to leave the ground, and it starts with a single question, what would I create if I wasn't afraid of losing another job, because I never needed one again? Stop looking for a job, start looking for freedom. Because freedom is not just about money, it's about control, it's about peace. It's about walking into each day, knowing that what you're building is yours, not a borrowed title, not rented identity, yours. You see, jobs end. Titles get stripped, emails get deactivated. But freedom, when you build it for yourself, no one can take it, not a layoff. Not a recession, not a reorg. Not a pandemic, and if you think that sounds unrealistic, maybe that's because you've been trained to believe the job is the goal, but the job was never the goal. It was just a vehicle until it wasn't. The real goal is life on your terms. The real goal is work that lights you up and gives you time back, not work that drains you and owns your calendar. The real goal is knowing that every ounce of effort you invest is building equity in something that grows with you, not something that replaces you. When the numbers get tight, freedom means you wake up and create, not comply. You contribute value based on who you are, not just what's listed on a job description. You bring your whole self into the room, not the version you're told to be. And yes, there will be hard days. Days when it feels uncertain. Days when you second guess yourself. Days when you wonder if going back to the old system would be easier. But here's what's harder: wasting the next 5, 10, 15 years knowing you had the chance to break the cycle and you didn't take it. Freedom isn't free. It costs you comfort. It costs you predictability. It costs you the illusion of stability. But what you get in return is ownership of your energy, of your earning, of your evolution. That's not something a job can offer. That's something you create. And you don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need a 10-step plan. You don't need 10.00 followers or perfect branding. You just need to make one powerful decision. I will stop trying to get back to who I was before the job ended, and I'll start becoming who I was always meant to be. You start small. You create something today. A post, a message, a pitch, a service, a sketch, an offer. You speak, you show up. You test, you learn. You move, and with every tiny action, the cage gets further behind you. The fog begins to lift, the path starts to form. Because no one ever built freedom by thinking about it. They built it by choosing it daily. Choosing to walk away from fake stability. Choosing to trust that their future was worth the risk. Choosing to believe that they were never meant to blend in. They were meant to build. You're not jobless. You're just finally unplugged from the trap. And you can either crawl back into it and try to feel safe, or you can step forward and build something that makes you untouched. That's the move now. That's the invitation. This isn't about finding another job. This is about finding your fire. So stop waiting for an offer. Make one stop waiting to be chosen. Choose yourself. Stop waiting for a role. Step into your real one. The world doesn't need another perfect candidate. It needs someone bold enough to stop looking for a job and start living for freedom.